Hello, you guys, and thank you so much for joining us at NICAL. Today, we are finding out that the YMCA is more than just for exercise, right? With Miss Tabitha. Let us know who you are and what all do you do, and then we'll circle back around.
All right. So, hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. My name is Tabitha Ervin. I am the Chief Operating Officer for the YMCA of Greater Fort Wayne. I
Awesome.
do tons of other things in our community. I am a part of the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority
Okay.
Incorporated. I am a mom in Jack and Jill of America. I'm actually the managing editor for the Fort Wayne Ink Spot, and I'm on several community boards. I am a wife, I am a mother, so lots of different titles that I hold.
Lots of things.
Yes.
Now, how did you get in? Your main position is what? Which one?
Okay, so my main position is Chief Operating Officer for the YMCA.
Which is where we are now.
Yes, in my office.
Yes, yes. So, how did you get here? Because that is a very large position.
Yes, it is.
It's a large position. We have how many Y's here? About
So we have
five?
12
12
facilities,
facilities?
which are including our child care services, our camp, and our youth service bureau. So we have
Okay,
nine
okay.
YMCA's.
Wow.
And so we have one in Whitley County, one in Wells County, and then
Okay,
we
yes.
have
Okay.
the seven here in Fort Wayne community.
Wow, you guys. Okay. So now how did you get here
All right.
over there?
Yes. So I've been at the Y 18 years.
Okay.
So I moved here to Fort Wayne actually 18 years ago in September 2007 to work at the YMCA. So I
Wow.
started off as a program director at formerly the Southeast and Old Fort YMCA's.
Okay.
And so those closed several years ago, and now we have the Renaissance Point
Mhm.
YMCA serving those communities.
Mhm.
So I've actually spent 18 years at the YMCA and I've worked my way
Wow.
up. So I've had 6 jobs at the Y. I've been a program director, a membership director, an executive director at 2 different branches. I've been a district executive director, and then now I'm the chief operating officer. So lots of different jobs. I spent the most time as an executive director at those 2 different branches. Renaissance Point, I was an executive director, and then I opened the Jackson Lehman YMCA out northeast, which
Wow.
opened in 2017.
Wow. Wow. That entails a lot.
Yes, it does.
So what are some of the things, like I said, the Y is not just a place to go work out.
Mhm.
So what are some of the other things that the YMCA does?
So, our mission is to put Christian principles into practice through
Okay.
programs that build healthy spirit, mind, body for all. So we actually focus on not just the body, but the spirit and the mind.
Mhm.
And we do that through a variety of programs. So when people think about the YMCA, they tend to first think about exercise,
Yes.
which is fine. We also tend to think about a gym where
Yes.
we play basketball or
Mhm.
swim where we swim at. But
Mhm.
we have a ton of programs from childcare, early learning centers, all the way up to senior aerobics and exercise classes,
Mhm.
Bible studies, cooking classes, lots of
Really?
community partnerships, teen
Mm.
programs. We have a babysitting program when youth are 13 and 14 and they want to learn how to do babysitting. Of
Really?
course, we do first aid and CPR classes.
Mhm.
So you name it, we've done it. We actually have an adaptive services program for people with special needs. So we have a variety of
Wow.
activities for them. We have healthy living programs, which are some of those are diabetes prevention programs. We
Mm.
have a Live Strong program for cancer survivors to help them
Really?
get their strength back after they've had cancer. So
Mm.
there's so many programs that we have. I probably could not sit here and necessarily list all of them, but I just probably gave you about 20 of them or so.
Right, right. So, I mean, you've been doing this 18 years.
Yes.
So, if you were not doing this, what do you think you would be doing?
Yep. Yep. So my dream job was to be an athletic director at a high school.
Really?
And so I actually, before I moved to Fort Wayne, I was working at Pontiac Central High School, which is the high school I graduated from in
Okay.
Pontiac, Michigan.
Okay.
And I was coaching sports I was teaching, so I was a long-term substitute teacher. I was actually working on my master's degree, not in teaching, which is why I switched over to the Y. But my dream job was to be an athletic director. I love sports and I
Okay.
love academics. And so the partnership of the
Mm.
athletic director who helps support athletes, but also pushes those grades, athletes getting into college. I was really into youth mentorship and coaching and support at that time of my life. So my dream job
Awesome.
is high school athletic director. I also wouldn't mind being a high school principal. I would say in my time as an executive director at two different branches, I feel like the principal
I was just
sometimes,
about to say.
right? So there are some parallels to
Yeah.
the work that I've done in the YMCA and work that I formerly did when I was working in high schools
Mm.
and middle schools.
Awesome. Awesome. Just right where you need to be.
Yes.
Now, do you feel like this position, was it one of those like this, I could do this, or was it more someone else was, hey, we have something you may
So,
be interested in?
so another part of my journey, I'm a storyteller. So y'all
Okay.
gonna get these
Okay.
stories.
Come on, let's
So
listen.
when I graduated from college, I thought I wanted to be an engineer. So I actually
Oh.
majored in engineering, and I did two internships at Delphi Automotive, which was a subsidiary creating parts for General Motors at the time.
Oh wow.
So one year mechanical engineering. The second year I job shadowed at a plant in Vandalia, Ohio. So I job shadowed the plant manager, and I spent the summer walking around the plant, getting to know people, talking to people, learning what
Mm.
they were making, asking questions.
Mm.
And I learned that I didn't want to be an engineer behind the desk, but plant manager was more my
Oh.
speed.
Okay.
And leadership development, coaching people. At some point, I think I wanted to, I did some teaching stuff, and then I also dabbled in, do I want to be a doctor or a nurse?
Oh.
So as I was in Pontiac, Michigan, working on my master's degree, the community started to close the community centers, because the
Mm.
community centers are typically fueled by the city government. And if the
Mm.
city government has to start making cuts, sometimes those are the things they
Yeah,
cut.
the first
So
thing
in
they
Pontiac,
do.
they started cutting the community centers, which serve kids after school and serve kids for summer camp because we didn't
Mm.
have a YMCA in Pontiac at the time. So my dream was, I am going to open a building with my family and we're going to run youth programs for young people so that they have something to do. So I left Pontiac with the idea that I would just come to Fort Wayne to work at the YMCA for about 3 years. And then I was going to go back to Pontiac, buy this building. And I had my whole plan laid out. My brother was going to do the health and wellness and exercise because he's a personal trainer. He actually teaches first aid and CPR. My sister is an accountant, so she was going to do the math stuff, the
Wow.
tutoring. My mom is
Wow.
actually a teacher and she teaches special education, so she was going to do that.
Wow.
At the time, my dad was a mechanic, so he was going to do some of that. My sister
Wow.
also teaches dance, and then I had a cousin that was into computer engineering at the time. So I had this whole plan 18 years ago
Wow.
when I moved here, and I was going to go back to Pontiac 3 years into my time here.
Mm.
Obviously, God had other plans. I am now here running the Y, but the dream that was in my heart, I feel like
Mhm.
God fulfilled it, just not exactly under the
Oh.
circumstances that I would have had. So when you
Wow.
say my path or my journey was somebody pushing me, no, I definitely, as I'm jumping ahead on one of your questions, I
It's okay.
definitely feel like I'm called to the work that I do to serve people in
Mm.
community, and I actually get to do that at the YMCA. So perfect. It's perfect.
Wow. Wow. So what about that going back to Pontiac? Is that still something that's in you, or has that kind of dwindled now?
So I'm still interested, and I'm still
Okay.
interested because my family is still there. My brother and my sister still live there. My mom is still there. And I would be interested in the potential of that.
Mm.
Pontiac has gone through a lot of challenges, different mayors over these last couple years.
Mm.
Sometimes I jokingly say I would love to be a mayor of a small town. So that's also a dream job. but I haven't gotten into politics. Politics is a little interesting.
It's
I like
different.
this nonprofit work. I
It's
get to make
different.
some decisions. Politics is something else. But I think that
Mm-hmm.
dream is still in my heart. I have not
Mm,
necessarily pursued it, but I think the opportunity to do it is probably somewhere in my future
okay.
as the city of Pontiac just kind of makes shifts and changes. They still have community centers that are closed. They just
Wow.
elected a new mayor that'll start in January. I don't know him, but I know people who supported him.
Okay.
So it's possible in his 4-year tenure, if he were to look to reopen community centers, I could potentially be part of the
Yes.
conversation. Is it a community center or is it a YMCA?
Right.
I do know the CEO of the Metro Detroit YMCAs, and the closest YMCA to Pontiac is about 20 minutes in Birmingham. So I know the CEO there in Detroit.
Wow.
And there was a Y right by Oakland University on the outskirts of Pontiac, but they closed it during COVID. So there's some opportunities, I
Wow.
think, to still sow the seed of community centers in my hometown
Mm.
or a future YMCA opportunity. And so we'll see what happens. Now,
Wow.
obviously, I would probably still be living here. So then I would be supporting
Mm.
whomever or my family who could still potentially do that work. My brother actually
Right. Right.
works at the local university there in Oakland University, and he works for a grant funded program that supports local students staying local to go to Oakland University. So he
Mm.
does the youth development, the
Wow.
coaching, the personal training. So he is still very deeply connected to the community. So if I were to pursue that,
Yeah.
I definitely would lean in on my brother. Hey, he might be the executive director of it.
He may be. He
So
may
that dream is
be.
still in my heart.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Now, with so many things that the Y does,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to travel to the different
Mm-hmm.
locations and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. What are some of the negatives
Mm-hmm.
of this career?
So, in transparency, I'm busy. I work a lot. I would say I'm never off.
Mm,
I would consider jobs at the YMCA kind of on call. We typically open
wow.
branches for at 5 a.m. and we close at 9 p.m. and then we're open on the weekends. So anywhere in between that
Mm,
time, you can get a phone call. So it's not a 9 to 5. And when you're working at a facility branch, you're definitely on that amount of hours that the branch is open.
wow.
I would say I get less emergency calls or calls on the weekend now, but for sure I can leave my office, go home, relax, eat dinner, and then jump on and do some emails at 7 or 8 p.m. I could also
Wow.
be doing some emails over the weekend or even some text. So I would
Mm,
say some negatives or the downside of this kind of career is just the amount of time that you have
okay.
to invest
Okay.
in being really good at your work, but also like you're kind of on call all the time. And then I
Yeah.
would say a lot of the volunteerism I do in other community spaces is kind of part of my leadership development journey.
Okay.
And so that stuff takes time. We saw each other last night for one of
Yes.
the organizations I
Ye-
participate in.
Yes.
I didn't get home until after 8:30. And so I would
Wow.
say the commitment to this level of work
Yeah.
is time, and that can be a negative, especially when you have family.
Mm,
Yep.
wow. Wow. So, you've had quite a journey, and being here and that developing to here and that developing into here. So, what advice would you give someone who's not begun to even work towards their dream
Mm-hmm.
or that career, that maybe that thing in their heart?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give someone?
So, my number one piece of advice that I give young people, because I love mentoring and coaching,
Okay.
is what are you good at and what are you passionate about? That kind of thing that you could do if you didn't get a paycheck, whether that's funny or not, I think that's real. Now,
Yeah.
all of us want to get a paycheck.
Of
So it's
course.
not
Of course.
find the career that you can't get paid for, but what is that thing that just makes your eye twinkle, makes your smile,
Mm,
makes, butterflies in your stomach? Like what are those
mm,
things? And then what careers are connected to those things? So, like I said originally, I was working at a high school and I was about youth development and supporting youth and young people in coaching and sports. Fast forward, as I've grown and matured in my life and in my community, I would say the impact of people and how I can serve
mm,
people in the
mm.
community and I get to do that at the YMCA.
Yeah.
So what are you good at? What are you passionate about? And then what's the place that you can work at where you can do that is the advice that I would give. Again, I was an 18-year-old mechanical engineering major at University of Michigan. Like, I thought I was going to be an engineer. I guess because I thought I liked math. I don't know.
Okay.
I am so far from an engineering career right now. But the funny thing is that my brain and how I work is very tactical.
Okay.
And so I think I do still have some of those
That mathematical,
engineering, math, organizational skills. I just
Uh-huh.
apply it in this
In
work.
different way.
Yep. Or in my organizations that I volunteer for.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
And you know, me and my mom recently talked about this because in Jack and Jill, my first mentor ever, first African American engineer that I met, I usually see her at a Jack and Jill event when I'm doing regional Jack and Jill
Okay.
stuff. So I'll see her this weekend in Grand Rapids. And I always hug her, and it's amazing. She knew me when I was 18, and she was an engineer at the time. And so we laugh, and I was talking to my mom recently, and my mom said, you weren't going to be an engineer because God wanted you with the people. So even though I have this tactical mind and this structural way that I do this work I do, God wanted me to be with the people. And so you also have to figure out where you're called. So I would throw that in there as advice for young people. What are you called to? You know, obviously, if you're not a believer, you got to work your way through that.
Yeah.
But if you are, you know, what are you called to? Because we are all created with a reason and for a purpose. We're all here for something.
Yes.
So if you find that something, you're going to hit it. You're going to hit it 10,000 out of the park every time. And you're going to be really good at it because that's what God called you for.
Okay. So is that how you can tell that you are called for it? How would you hone in on something and go, I might be called to do that?
So I think it's probably a number of ways.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's that passion. It's that thing that gives you butterflies or makes you tingle. It's that thing where you're like, if I didn't get paid for this, I would still do it. So I think it's a combination of things. Okay. Obviously, the calling part is really connecting with, you know, your spirituality to decide like, okay, God, what am I here for?
Yes.
And going on that journey to discover what are your strengths. Innately, God has given us all talents and strengths, right? So then how do you apply those talents that you've been given to the world? I know that I am a pretty good public speaker. So then when I get called to speak or do something like this, or I was on stage this week at United Front. Last week I was on stage at an event. I know I'm called to speak. Okay. The event last week was for Christian youth workers. And so I'm up on stage and the topics are about youth work, but it's at a church and it's a Christian event. So then God plants the seeds in me to be able to say the appropriate things that apply for Christian leaders, even though I'm talking business or coaching or mentorship or leadership. So I do think if you get in your sweet spot, you'll know. And you'll just move and groove, and you'll always be kind of hitting it out of the park. It'll just align so well. You'll look around and say, "Okay, God, I think this is it." Okay, you know that alignment is there, but obviously there's a part of that we all have to trust. Yeah, you have to trust that it's the spot that you're supposed to be in, and you have to trust the feelings you're having when you're in the space.
I just had to ask that for a friend. I had to ask it for a friend. So now you were talking about Jack and Jill. You just hit on that. Now tell us about Jack and Jill.
So Jack and Jill of America is actually a family organization comprised of mothers, fathers, and children. The organization focuses on children from the ages of 2 to 19 in African American families. The organization was created in 1938 by two ladies that were focused on their children during that time. Civic service, community service, and leadership opportunities. So if you can imagine, in 1938, children of color potentially did not have the same experiences as other children. So these moms set out to say, no, our children can have these experiences and we're going to create the structure for that. So fast forward to now, there are chapters all across the United States. Awesome. There are several regions across the United States. And then I was just looking at these stats because I'm the vice president in Jack and Jill, but definitely over 18,000 moms in the organization across the United States,
Wow.
serving thousands of children, thousands of teenagers with thousands of fathers, but also we even have associates who have graduated out of the program. And so it's just a program that I've participated in on behalf of my 11-year-old daughter, to give her these connections, to give
Awesome.
her these experiences and these opportunities with other Black children, like minded families, and like minded children. So it's been a good opportunity. We chartered this chapter here in Fort Wayne when my daughter was 4,
Mhm.
and she's now 11. So we rechartered this chapter here that 7 years ago. So there was formerly a chapter here,
Okay.
and some of the greats like Miss Anita Dortch, Allison Edmonds, and there are some others here in our community that were some original moms in that original chapter.
Wow.
Marsha Edmond. I probably could sit here and rattle off some of their
Uh-huh.
names,
Uh-huh.
but there was an original chapter. They closed that chapter because they ended up not having enough moms, and then we rechartered it
Oh,
7 years ago.
wow.
So,
Wow.
yep.
So you guys just get together and do things, or
So the
what do you
moms
do? Uh-huh.
plan structured activities for the children. There are different
Okay.
age groups and grade groups of children, and each mom is responsible for planning activities for children. So all of our children have monthly
Oh,
activities together. And then we do
okay.
some social activities for moms and kids. We do volunteer service activities for moms and kids.
That's
Yep. So
cool.
we'll have a Christmas event here coming up. We'll have a MLK Day of Service event coming up in January.
Mhm.
We do a Black Family Day event in May for the community. We just did a Jack and Jill Carol Roberson Day event at the Weiser Park Youth Center. So we are actually driving a lot more community service in these coming years so that we can
Wow.
be out in the community and support. Part of our coming Christmas program is we're going to support 5 families from the Ewell Wilson Center with Christmas. So we're going to bring them with
Wow.
us, our families and their families. We're going to eat together, laugh together, and present them with some gifts and just love on them with our families, but also our
Wow.
children participating and seeing and supporting, right?
Yes.
Because we can
Yeah.
take for granted the
Yes.
basics. In
Yes.
this climate, none of us should take anything for granted,
Yes.
right? But how many
Definitely.
of our children have potentially taken the Christmas gifts for
Yes.
granted while some other child maybe is not even
Definitely.
able to eat a good Christmas dinner?
Definitely.
So it's a great opportunity, a mom's organization serving our youth and showing them this community
Yeah.
service, this volunteerism, this civic leadership, and
Mhm.
more. So
Wow. Wow. Now, has this, you just touched on this, has this organization been affected by the shutdown or anything going on in the government right
not
now?
at this time.
No?
None of
Okay.
the organizations that I affiliate with at this
Okay.
time have, but I have seen how the community of Fort Wayne has started to rally around each other and people. So people are trying to do like food drives or
Okay.
turkey drives, or I've
Mhm.
seen a lot of different collaborations happening,
Okay.
and the Y is supporting some of those.
Okay.
We actually are supporting a Jack and Jill blood drive coming up, and my other organization, Delta Sigma Theta, is going to support that. So there's always these
Wow.
small collaborative things going on amongst organizations, but I don't think
Okay.
the government shutdown stuff or anything has impacted our organization at this time.
Good. Good. Now, how can people get involved in Jack and Jill?
So Jack and Jill is a membership organization, and so you have to know one of the moms in the organization. We actually have a sponsorship informational tea coming up at the end of November, and I'm not sure when this will air, but that
Okay.
sponsorship tea is Sunday, November 23rd at Forteza at 4:30. I am the president, Tabitha Ervin, so look me up and reach out to me, and we'll get you an invitation to come to the informational tea so that people
Okay.
can learn more if they are interested.
Awesome. Awesome. And then, okay, so you guys, you just have to go to the YMCA site to look up how you can be involved with the Y, because there's so much going on
Yeah.
there. So much.
Yes.
I know that some of my employees too, they utilize the
Use
Y
Y.
for their children,
Yes.
before and after school.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it is great. They always have something going on that you can be involved with, some way to get active, some way to be. It's and there is a organization. There's a building in every side of
Yes.
of
There
the
is.
city.
There is.
Wow, they're everywhere.
Yep.
They're everywhere.
Yes.
Wow, I'm so thankful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your time.
All right.
Um, you guys, if you need some information, look her up. I will link her information below. And thank you guys so much for tuning in to Nicole. Don't just have a great day. I want you to make it a great day for somebody else. All right. Later, guys.